Is that what we're doing? Cool.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Good job, my friend.
So Ryan, thank you. Great words again. Yep. Everyone brings the policy.
Hey, sure. Congratulations!
Yeah. Thank you.
I didn't realize she was home. In fact, like my wife said, I get work on board with her sometimes. You get work with her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's pretty. Yeah, busy. Busy. Yeah, but you know what? She really loves doing what she's doing. So she's proud of it. Yeah. For sure.
I assume you knew her predecessor, John.
Oh yeah. Yeah. John was a Spitfire.
Yeah.
He was the same passion level, just a little more, I think, like aggressive, but still loved kids and did the right thing all the time.
Absolutely. She stepped right in the role.
Yeah.
No different from when you stepped in, from when you got up and you stepped in.
I don't know about that. That's a pretty big compliment.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks, Scott. Scott, thanks for sharing that story today. I have to leave. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Everyone wants.
But thank you for sharing, Mrs. Mancini's story and being a part of our lighthouse. We're going to know in 4 to 6 weeks. Okay. That's okay.
I put her whole story.
Oh my God. Awesome. Okay.
I'm not going to read it all tonight. But
Thanks, Sherry. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you saying that.
Hey, how are you?
Sherry, you have to come in on
Well, she's going to be our PTA president. So,
that's awesome. Congratulations. You're welcome. You're welcome. Congratulations.
I know.
We're stuck with each other for a little while.
she's amazing. She's wonderful. Do you want to hear?
Well, it's nice to have maybe you can come together. I thought you Oh, you were outside. Oh, you were outside.
Really threw me out.
You should. I'm not next, but I can everybody should take some attempts like that. Where I was doing her administrative work. So I said, I have the board meeting right now. That's part of one of the
grandmother.
That's why I think he's like, that's a PhD. My sister was in the and then I called them. They said, I'm taking care of this beautiful kid. Where are you? So Isaiah went to the middle school for 1 year. Okay. And I went to St. Joe's, but I did. And then my other three sisters, congratulations. Yes, I love him. I mean, I don't really do anything. I set it up. But actually, there's no other room where I go to. She's one of those people I don't want to stop.
I appreciate that. Very kind.
Yeah.
That's how we're very I would say like I've been married 25 years now. There's not every day is not easy, but I can tell you we communicate a lot, and it might not always be perfect, but it's good. It's very good. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to tell her I saw you because she loves you. Well, I'm lucky. Thank you, Toya. I'm very lucky too. Have a great night.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
See you later.
Hi, nice to see you again. Bye, congratulations.
Communications, does anybody have any? Seeing none, and having no unfinished business, that leads us to Dr. Janeski, your turn.
I didn't really read on it. Oh, I see. A lot of buttons back here. What video is he gonna post? Yeah. There you go. Oh, there you go. Okay, let's see. Not all impressed that I knew how to do that. The one thing I remember from the training.
I'm gonna back up just a second while you're doing that.
Okay.
I have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we wanted to start tonight's presentation with Dr. Wilson to give us an update on our strategic plan and where we are after year one. Dr. Wilson.
Good evening. I have joining me today my team, or members of my team, come on up. Members of the Teaching and Learning Subcommittee. We've been engaged in this work now, our year 2, first year of full implementation of the strategic plan. And so here you have a full list of everyone who serves on that committee. And you see we have the range from students, parents, community members, district staff, school staff, and many voices that came together to continue this work. And we appreciate everyone. The members that could be here with us tonight will share their name when they step into the presentation and share their role. And we'll all engage in unpacking the strategic plan, year 1.
Hi everyone, I'm Kazakowski, nice to see you. So our year 1 review, we tracked progress of each goal throughout the year and with different team members. So our curriculum and instruction department had weekly meetings, and so we reviewed each of the goals, we looked at the progress, we gave updates for kind of the things that we were working on as different team members and provided an update. And we were able to pass it on to our teaching and learning committee, and they were able to see that feedback and then also provide additional updates from their perspective. So it was really nice to have all of the stakeholders to be able to give updates based on their building, maybe their role, and that was a way that we tracked. We had living documents to do that. We reviewed language to make recommendations on any shifts or changes. We reviewed to see what our focuses should be for next year in year 2, and we did a final review collectively to identify 2 big rocks from the end of this year, looking through through the entire school year, and then made a recommendation for one change for each goal moving forward.
Good evening, I'm Julia Ryan, and I'm the reading specialist at the high school. What you're seeing behind you on the presentation is an exercise that was done by our new teachers at one of their monthly meetings, as well as our DEI Teaching and Learning Subcommittee. And during these meetings, our teachers and the members of the committee were asked to reflect on all the small things that we are doing day in and day out that are in support of our strategic plan. So you can see all three goals were represented: teaching and learning, future focused, and whole child. And the intention behind this exercise was really to stop, pause, reflect, and celebrate all of these small accomplishments that we are getting done every single day. They may not seem really significant in the moment, but we know all of these small things, when done with consistency, are really strengthening and add up to big supports for our district.
So I'm going to ask Hunter and Osman to join me. This is teaching and learning goal 1. And as you can see, we dug into what we tried to do was really pick out 2 big rocks that were focused on this year, and then one change that we think about going into next year. So that group, the small group, unpacked the teaching and learning goal of Sweet Home provides learning experiences that are focused on supporting students and developing strong academic skills through experiential learning while amplifying student voice. So the team thought that our 2 big rocks were centered around teaching. Curriculum audits, those audits continue as standards continue to change. For example, science is in the middle of a big audit. The second rock is around learning. We want to continue to assess and evaluate our current curriculum. So as we continue to work through, for example, science, moving on to our next subject that we really want to make sure we put into a sequence. And from the voices of our students, we learned that professional learning will support that. I'll introduce Anna.
As a student, I feel like teachers giving opportunities for different ways students can learn has a big role on student academics, because it shows the students how they can get their voices heard, and different ways students can learn are so one example I've had this year is a science project, and the teacher gave us options for making a model or a slideshow, and that there was a wide variety of students who picked either one, and it was really helpful because the students learned and their experiences were remembered so well.
So we talked about the professional learning that comes into play to support teachers being able to reach out and cover all the different opportunities for students to have that kind of experience, all the different ways to approach project-based learning. And Hunter always in that role of supporting students. You want to talk about student voices in this work?
Sure. When Dr. Wilson first approached our Student Government Association at the high school 2 years ago, she brought up the idea of involving students on the district level committee, something that we don't really get invited to as much as we'd like to. There are a bunch of committees that our students do sit on now, thanks to the district and the work that they've done. Our students do have a largest voice in our district as the largest stakeholder group. Ultimately, every decision we make does impact their daily lives. So our students being able to have an opportunity to voice their concerns and advice on something as big as our curriculum has really meant a lot to our student body and me personally.
Our students' voices on this subcommittee are extremely important. We pause many times to listen to what they have to add to the conversation. Because as adults, sometimes we get going, right? We're talking, wait, slow down. We need to be true to amplifying student voice. And so we try to do that all the way through our work. Hunter is leaving us as a senior this year. Alphonse is an 8th grader joining us. And so we really wanted to make sure they brought their different perspectives were seen in the work. So that is our first 2 big rocks we want to change for goal.
For goal 2, future focused, one of our big rocks was Leader in Me foundational focus. So we have 2 elementary schools that have Lighthouse status, 2 elementary schools going for Lighthouse status, and leveraging some of the experience of our Lighthouse schools and kind of sharing that experience and strengths with some of our other schools, while also reestablishing secondary schools. The middle school and high school found a coach that's a great fit for them, and really had an opportunity to learn about other secondary schools and how they're using that Leader in Me mindset. So that was a big focus for us this year. Our Rock 2 was inquiry-based learning through STEM. So we have a partnership with FATE, formerly known as Western New York STEM Hub, and even had opportunities for our UPK classes to use Lego kits and the robotics and introduce them at a very young age and provide those experiences. And then also have an opportunity for STEM ambassadors, 5th grade and middle school, and even a summer program. Also trying to make sure that the field trip opportunities are aligned to our next generation learning standards for science. So our elementary science coaches worked really hard to kind of align those standards and the opportunity that all 4 of the elementary buildings and provide some guidance through their connections and help to facilitate that. One change that we suggested for next year is to really leverage our district tech plan to drive some of our initiatives. There are a lot of really important goals within that tech plan, so really trying to find how can we weave that into the work of the strategic plan, and then also use that as a tool to monitor our progress.
I'm Tiffany. We were looking at goal 3, which was really continuing to look at that whole child, our whole sweet home grad and student as a whole. Again, we were looking at the student voice and where we are, supporting our students in their relationships with each other in the real world. Our 2 big rocks that we had for this goal was we felt that there was a lot of MTSS training that was happening and trauma-informed care that was going on within the schools. And our second big rock was we really liked that we saw a lot with the academic screener, the aims of the class, and that there is a detailed plan already in place for 24-25 moving forward.
Good evening. My name is Steve Shepard. I am the teacher on social assignment at Ready Academy as acting principal. So in accordance with what Tiffany just said, we had a really great discussion about the whole child, what that really means, and I think discipline comes into the whole child whenever you talk about kids who have made mistakes. Doesn't make them bad kids, they make a bad decision. We've looked at some startling data that Dr. Wilson has shared with us about suspension rates, where those suspensions fall, what types of populations they hit the most, which is a little bit troubling. And something near and dear to my heart is restorative practices. We're ready to use restorative practices as much as we can. It doesn't happen in every single circumstance that you run into, but I believe that it is a good way to handle those decisions that kids make where they need to learn from them more than just be punished. So Dr. Wilson has brought a group called the Erie County Restorative Justice Coalition, which we're going to work with next year. This is a great group of people. We have some experience with them. They're wonderful. So we're going to do some planning and we're going to do some more implementation next year. I think we really just wanted to make sure we got it right. So by finding this group, we're going to move forward with that next year, do a lot of planning, and then really start implementing this across the district. Would be wonderful as part of the strategic plan. Thanks.
And so we wanted to also share some considerations that we started to notice. We've been deeply involved in this work, but we get involved in the work. How do we communicate that out to the community? And so we came up with a couple of things that we are hoping that folks start to notice. For example, the hashtag campaign. So every time there's anything posted on our website, on our social media, we feel like everything that goes out there is somehow connected to our strategic plan. Which goal is it? And so I hope you notice that with each picture, there's a caption that says hashtag strategic plan, goal 3, or goal 1. Just to keep people seeing that these are things that we feel are very much connected to our work every day. Mr. Shepard came up with the live strategic plan
next to some, or embedded in some of the terms that are in this document that some people may not be familiar with. In the community, I'm sure in our educational community as well. So if we could install those hyperlinks directly into the document, users would be able to click on those words, learn a little bit about them, demystify some of these education-y type terms, or terms some people might not be familiar with. And if we want to step further with that, we could actually click on a term possibly and register for a PD session that has to do with any one of these terms. Experiential learning, there's a lot of other terms in there that you can use. So possibility, if that could happen, that'd be great.
And we really work hard to work along with our building leaders, with our strategic plan being aligned to their school improvement plans. So this work kicked off last year. We did some work over the summer. They've been working to continue to monitor and assess their plans all throughout the year. I've been able to sit in on some of the meetings that they've had with their staff, and they all have had very strong connections to our strategic plan, much of which was connected heavily to Goal 3 Goal Child. And then the work of continuing to develop videos and things to get out there to the community so they can see that this work is happening, it's continuous, it's very thoughtful. There are several team members across the entire district that are working to support the strategic plan in many ways. Every one of us has a role in the strategic plan. And so we saw that from our new teachers to our students, all the way through to the teaching and learning subcommittee and also curriculum and instruction. Going forward, we have plans, and I'm going to introduce Jessie Curtis from BOCES to talk a little bit about the next steps.
I'm Jessie Curtis from Erie One BOCES, and I've been working with Sweet Home from the start of planning the strategic plan. And one of our big focuses, even though I'm in a lot of different districts in the area, I can say that Sweet Home has really kept their eye on the prize, and that's important. It's part of what we talk about a lot through the research, that it's constantly progress monitored, it's constantly talked about, and constantly looked at, and it's not just something that lives on a shelf or is available online without edits or changes, or looking at making it something that really means something to the students in the community. So moving forward, we talked about adding more voices to the teaching and learning team, making sure that even though we have some excellent students graduating and leaving us, yet bringing in more students and getting more student voice. Planning for another thought exchange in 24-25 to gauge where the community, the students, and the teachers believe that we are in working with the plan and thought exchange. You can offer thoughts and ideas related to a question and rate other thoughts and ideas so you can see what everyone is thinking. And as we get deeper into the plan, we're able to add more percentage improvements after monitoring. We're able to kind of have a focus on where we're going and being able to show growth and show improvement pretty specifically to what the targets are that are outlined within the plan. Another advantage that we're talking about a lot at the state level, even in the last week I went to Albany and we had some conversations BOCES-wide about who's doing strategic planning and how important it is to have a future focus on strategic planning as the state has continued conversations about where to go with graduation measures. And I can say confidently that Sweet Home is already very much on that path.
I didn't say before, I am a parent on the committee. So our last slide is, do you have any
done a lot of work around E&L supports. I have Dr. Kazakowski here, who also works very closely with that department. And there's been a lot of family outreach. I'm going to let her talk a little bit about how we connect with families. And part of that is helping them make that connection also to the strategic plan.
Sure, so one thing I can note that our website is great as far as being able to translate into different languages right there. So one thing we worked on this year is really explicitly showing families how to navigate that. And so that's one thing. And also our E&L team is very, very strong. They're awesome at every level. So we spent a lot of time this year talking about opportunities moving forward as far as a welcome orientation and our onboarding process to really show families, you know, everything that Sweet Home is about and how to be a participant in our community and to just have better access to these things. So this is definitely something, we've got some great plans in the works for next year just to make it easier to navigate for our families.
And I'd like to add to that, because I'd like to give a shout out to Beckham Harari, our family liaison. She has been phenomenal. Everything that comes out of the district is translated by her, and I talk to her all the time about even the Friday memos she's sending out to our families. So she has just been tremendous at making that connection.
She has phenomenal connections with families. She gets news to us just from her interactions across different families about different celebrations that we would never know about. Like, for example, our mom is a karate expert, and she just won this big event, and we learned that through Ms. Harari. So, wonderful connections to families. Anybody else?
Peter Blind, saying only one question per session. Let's make this as best I can. It sounds like you have a process for all this teaching curriculum. I'm very curious in your progress. How are you measuring that, and are you reporting that back to the board? I would think that's a very important piece of it. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's been part of our big discussion, because when you look at the strategic plan, it's rolled out over 3 years. It's broken up into a 3-year implementation. If you look at year one across all the goals, much of what's written there is really about exploring what we already have in place, because there's a great wealth of things that are already here, what's working, and what's out there that may work better for us. So it's a lot of what do we already have, what's already established, how do we grow, and how do we establish our next steps. So a lot of exploring. That second year is when we hit the ground running, like we heard about restorative practices. We've identified the right organization to work with, and that is a big milestone. But now we'll be able to put some of those actions in place through training with that organization and be able to share huge data points. And so it comes along with the process that we feel like as we hit year 2 running, we will have done all the exploration that we needed to do for the most part, and we'll be heavily into the work to really hit hard with those standpoints. So that's why that's one of the things on the second to last slide that we've unpacked, because it has been at the center of our discussion.
Peter, can you follow it?
Sure.
So it sounds again like you have a baseline to measure things. So I'm just curious, will you be measuring successes?
Yes, I'm sorry.
And how will you report that back? That's the question.
So I know that this year there was a goal to make sure we did
I would just like to add a special thank you from the district to the team as well. I remember when we talked about developing a strategic plan, that it was, Mr. Lytle brought it up first, but it was the sentiment of the entire board that this plan is a living, breathing document that really is our roadmap. That is in every classroom in the district. That is our guidebook to how we want to operate. I'm super proud of the fact that every stakeholder group in the district is represented here tonight, but on the teaching and learning committee, so everybody has a voice. I think that was the most important part of this work, is to make sure that everybody's represented, and we are really, really proud and can't wait to get into year 2 as we continue to push the needle forward. So thank you, Dr. Wilson, for your leadership. We are super thankful to work with Jessie at Area 1. She's the leading expert on strategic planning and keeping it going in our region and probably in the state. And so we're really lucky to have that leadership and guidance as well. And to all of you, especially our students and our parents, because you're our eyes and ears, and we need you to keep this work going forward. So thank you. All right. As we heard earlier tonight, just another special shout out to those recommended for tenure. However, they all did fail a major test. They were supposed to stay through the vote. I'm just kidding. I told them to go home. But we are really, really proud, and I hope you are too, to tenure the next great crop of teachers here. And we look forward to all of them having a very, very long career here at Sweet Home. So these are who we recommended tonight, and we're super proud to present them to you. Last night, we celebrated our retirees at the middle school cafeteria. We all got together as a district office this morning and thought that while it was cold in there, it was a great event space. It was great sound, great lights, and just a great night to hear the stories of our staff and how they have made Sweet Home such a better place and such a great place. So I, personally, from district office point of view, congratulate our retirees once again. Wish them nothing but the best in their next adventure, and always a Panther, for sure. 1,105 years of experience retired in the district. This is Jason. I know we reported on this last week, and I know, but wanted to let you know that we are back with clubs. We are actually higher than the pre-COVID year. And as we continue to add drivers, we're going to continue to add clubs. We highly encourage our advisors to, if they have an idea, please say yes. And we want to, we really believe this is part of our whole child that Dr. Wilson talked about in the strategic plan, but really what makes Sweet Home great. So we will continue to add clubs as they come about, but very proud to report that we're back.
And we're okay with the bus situation right now.
We're getting better. Yeah. We have seen, our goal was to make sure that anybody that wanted to be a part of the club could be, and transportation was not going to be a distractor or roadblock. And I think we've done an excellent job with that. A lot of our parents have arranged transportation for their child, but if a child needs transportation, we have arranged it and we are making it happen. Of course, if you or anybody out there would like to be a bus driver, we are always looking for more. Last week I reported to the board on mixed use competition. I just wanted to put the slide in as a reminder. I'm not going to read it to you again, but the comment period is open. We did have an athletic use committee, athletic council meeting last week where Mr. Schumo went over the changes, the proposed changes to athletics. The committee was, I would say, concerned by some of the changes, but word out of Albany is that it's not going to be approved in its entirety, but the goal here is to open up more opportunities for students to play the sport that they choose. And so, we want to keep that goal in mind while maintaining levels of competition that are appropriate for all. So we'll continue to update you as this progresses through the summer and the 60-day calendar period continues. So what could happen, and we're not exactly sure yet, is that if there is a similar sport, in a boys and a girls, so baseball and softball would actually fall under that. So that's not really a concern. The concern is sports that are meant for one gender, and there's no real equivalent for the other gender, male, female. So I'll give an example, like flag football. Flag football right now is a girls' sport. This rule could open it up for boys to play flag football because there isn't a similar sport in the season for boys to play.
So this will again require the district to create another expense, correct? I kind of understand.
It could, and that we're waiting to see how that unfolds. So that was one thought that I had, and that came up, that there'd be a boys flag football team to kind of cover us here. There's also Title IX considerations to make sure that we're equal across the board. And so it is definitely worth watching, and there are changes to it all the time, and we're going to monitor those changes and see. As a school, we're fortunate to have a lot of, there's boys volleyball, girls volleyball, boys swimming, girls swimming. So we're very fortunate, but there are a few outliers.
Do you represent us as a, in this open period for talent and time? Who
Anybody can. It's open to the public. So I can send you the link and anyone can come.
But are you as, are we in the district responding to this asking?
That's the will of the board. So, yeah.
Should we?
I'm personally in a little bit of a holding pattern to see, because there's already proposed changes and there's a lot of outcry. And I did meet with an associate commissioner at State Ed several weeks ago who said there was going to be a lot of changes to this, but they wanted it on people's radar because the comment period is over. Yeah. Section 6 wrote a letter on behalf of districts. The New York State Public High School Athletic Association has written a letter. So there is wide comments out there.
Thank you.
So when I did a little more digging on this, because I wanted to see flag football came up,
Yep.
is what I was thinking. So if you have a girls flag football team, and you have a guy that wants to play in that, I mean, I'm seeing major cause for injury and somebody could get hurt. So how do you
Right.
get that balance? Our concern has always been safety for these kids.
Yep.
I can't see where that's safe to have a 6'2" with a 5' back. So
Yep.
where do you really?
I think that's a major concern. Yes.
But the way it's written, it says,
Yep.
regardless of safety considerations, so how does that make sense?
They took that out, and I know that they took out regardless of.
But that wasn't.
Right. So that is a concern, and I think that is something that's being highly reviewed by State Ed before it's presented in its finality to the board.
You might have talked about it.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
But when I looked at it this week, that
Yeah.
stood out.
Absolutely.
Is there not a provision in there for if competitive advantage is too significant, then they could reconsider
It could.
yes.
There's no pathway to do that.
Correct.
And
That's correct.
That's the problem.
I think Mary Ann should need a link in comment.
All right. Will do. Again, I will say congratulations to Joe Brignali, Lindsay Perry, Mary Rail, Deb Taylor, Jessica Spies, and Stephanie Bickelman. Stephanie, you met tonight. We wish them nothing but the best as they leave for Ghana on an educational mission trip this summer. The donations were incredible, the momentum at Heritage, and I said I was going to mention it at every meeting, and I have, and just really proud of them bringing the Sweet Home Way across the world.
Just ask them to find out in Ghana they have a. I don't know.
It's a great question.
Ask them to find out. The board wants to know.
I will.
And just for the will of everybody that's watching, there is 2 more days if you choose to donate monetarily.
Tomorrow, the district will be celebrating Juneteenth. It's June 19th, 2024. There were a lot of celebrations over the weekend in Buffalo, including the parade on Saturday. We met with a young student teacher today during the interview process who worked at Willow Ridge, who did an art project on Juneteenth flags with their students at Willow Ridge. So that culturally responsive curriculum is very important for us here because we are so diverse. And to hear that story of what she did in Willow Ridge classroom today was phenomenal. But we want to say happy Juneteenth to all of our community, and we will celebrate it. The district will be closed tomorrow, and we will reopen on Thursday. June 27th, Hunter, are you ready? 272 graduates will walk across the stage at the University of Buffalo a week from Thursday, 6 p.m. And I think everybody's got that circled in the dark marker on their calendar. So it's going to be a great night, and we cannot wait to celebrate the class of 2024. And we have a couple of, since it's our last meeting of this school year, we want to congratulate Mr. Hunter Tryloff and thank him. We present you with this plaque, Hunter. You did incredible work on the Board of Education this year. And you put your money where your mouth is, because not only did you serve on this board, but you led student government, you sat on the teaching and learning committee. Dr. Wilson, after every meeting, raved about your influence. I'm not kidding, it's true. That I don't think the work could have gotten done on the strategic plan without you. Your input was absolutely critical in that. So you just didn't come here and sit at a board meeting 2 nights a week. You contributed every single meeting, and you contributed in other ways behind the scenes to make Sweet Home a better place. So just congratulations, thank you for all your service, and we're super proud to have you. You will be missed. Your name will be added to the plaque of Virgils. You will live there in eternity. Come back.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd be remiss not to thank Mr. Josh Feldman for his 5 years of service on the Sweet Home Board of Education. I know we talked at the volunteer reception a couple weeks back, but I think we've all become better leaders because of Josh on the board, and you will be tremendously missed by all of us at district office. Your voice, every time you talk, it resonates throughout this district, and we can't thank you enough for the time, the energy that you spent. You were a very busy person, but you were always there. And I know when I reached out to you, it was immediate. And I can't thank you enough because your guidance really made me a better superintendent. And I just wish you nothing but the best, and we will miss working with you tremendously on this board. So if we're at district office, I want to speak on behalf of the board. I know they feel the same, but thank you for everything, Josh. Yeah.
Did Dr. Wilson rave about me? Is that
sure? It's kind of crazy to think this is your last meeting. It's going to be a big shoe to fill. There is a trip to Hawaii.
It's not a school bus, man.
It's not a bus, and we can't find a driver. So,
I'm sorry, Mariana, just as for you.
And that is my report for tonight.
Okay, let's see, we have little big updates, and
Yeah, you know, this, the authorization here is just to be able to fund reserves. We'll do that when we set tax rates, in August. You know, we won't be as high of a surplus to fund reserves because of the budget transfer, but on the revenue side, we do pretty well, particularly, in sales tax and interest. So we'll be able to fund our reserves, not to the extent that we've done in the past, but
So it's my last meeting. So first and foremost, I want to thank my fellow board members. Each of you bring something unique and important to the board. It really was an honor to serve with you. I learned a lot. I learned a great deal. So thank you to you. Thank you to the administration and the staff and the faculty. I leave knowing, through no real part of my own, but knowing that I'm leaving the organization better than I left it. Right? That's the most important thing. I didn't do it, but that's because that's a testament to the folks who are sitting at this table, the folks who walk these halls every day, and the parents who support our students. So thank you for that. And to the students, all my Dorian fans out here, to the students and parents, that if you're listening, thank you for the opportunity to serve the board. It was a pleasure. I wish I could do it longer. It was a personal decision, and just time simply, I couldn't dedicate the time necessary to do the job justice it deserves. I know Danielle will do well by that, so I look forward to her serving on the board and continuing to carry us forward. So thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Frank?
Like many of us attend the retirement ceremony, annual reception here. Nothing else bad, but again, want to thank Hunter for what he's done and appreciate his input and thoughts. And Josh, I think, it's been great sitting next to you and being on board with it for the last, for me, 4 years long ago. And, I think when you think about people and how to compliment, there were many nights I would go home and mention to Jen something you said that I felt insightful, or even the way you said it that I admired. So, just wish you the best and everything going forward.
Oh my God, I said a lot, but I gotta say the same thing, Josh. In my time on the board, even though I've been here a while, I have been honored, and I appreciate that. I'm glad you're here to serve with us. I understand the decision. I'm sure this is something that can continue. I just say, really love it, and I appreciate the time you guys spent with us. Last week I mentioned that I skipped over my informational items. We started off right with the camera in front of you watching. I'm retired. I have a lot of time to do this stuff. I typed it all on my site and shared it around and posted it on the site, so I'm not going to go through all of it. I just want to touch on a couple things that jumped out at me. I did get called for the leadership case, and when I went to Legal Bear, Josh was leading the team with 20-some of the other, I don't know if they were across all the classes, I don't know.
Students?
I'm sorry, say Josh, I didn't think I told you.
Yes, they were going
I
all
had a
over.
team of about 20 students working, helping run some of the stuff that the kids have put together so they can spend more time taking their parents on to the classroom. I thought that was pretty cool. And I want to thank you for all your service, and they mentioned it too. I think you've been, of the board members that we've had all the time I've done, I think you've been one of the ones that's put the most input back to the Board of Education, to the administration. I thank both of them. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Just gonna try and move through a few of these things here. Handful of us with the challenge changing worked out really well. There was one that jumped out at me over at the Heritage High Leadership Day. I went in a couple different classrooms. I don't know if I'm just pure luck or if they signed me on purpose.
graced the bar for us. You have brought forth something in my 5 years I have not seen. I appreciate that. I hope that whoever follows in your footsteps can fill them and hopefully rely on their guidance in how we handle things this year and how moving forward the district's much better for it. Josh, I'm not going to say much because I ain't get through it. That being said, thank you. There, you said it last night, Dr. Janestri, that there are 2 words that just don't ever be enough. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to our second open session. Does anyone want to speak before I? Okay, great. Can I have a motion and a second for consent agenda 1 and 2, teaching and administrative, as well as service? Before we go on, I just wanted to point out something kind of neat because of the reception last night. I did get a chance to talk with some of the teachers, and I talked with Andrea Jarvis, who's retiring. If you look on your sheet, Julia Jarvis is being appointed. It's just kind of nice to see that come up. So, yeah.
She started right in her classroom.
Yep, teaching in her classroom. It's pretty cool. So, sorry, Nico. That's okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
I was gonna say something.
Go ahead.
Well, it's just interesting to see full cycle here, and I recognize some of the folks at the retirement party. I didn't recognize any of the folks that got attended. So it's, for me, it's full cycle. Right? Been around too long. All right, thank you.
Of course. Can I have a vote, wait? Can I have a motion and a second to vote? Okay, so now I need a motion and a second. Adjourn to